Hey, what's going on? Keys here from Sports Vibes TV with another edition of our Knicks Sunday stream. As always, I'm joined by my guy Stephen Fox. Foxy, how's everything with you?
I'm doing well. I wish I could be doing better, but salute to you, salute to the chat, salute to the SV Nation. We're going to be talking New York Knicks basketball.
Yeah, not a great game to be recapping, but I'm here with the fam, so I've got a smile on my face. Gonna have some fun. Talk about this team. We're also gonna get into some topics, Foxy. Talk about Tibbs, get into the front office, and then talk about some of these young guys that we got to see out there on the court. But before we jump into it, want to make sure I say Happy New Year's to everybody. Foxy, Happy New Year's to you as well.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you had a nice, wonderful, Happy New Year. It's nice and safe. And that just a real quick little story. This past week, folks, I got the booster, and Foxy was sick as a dog. That booster kicked my butt for a day or so. So I'm getting back to myself. I still feel a little fatigued. So I feel that hopefully you just don't know anymore with the government and everything else. The farmers, whether they're telling the truth or what. But I did what they told me to do. Both my wife and I got the boosters and went through a couple of real bad days. But hopefully, I'm on the straight and narrow, getting back to myself. But damn, I feel like I'm fatigued as hell for the last since I got it.
Yeah, glad you're feeling better, Foxy. We missed you on the pregame, but you're here for the Sunday stream, so I thank you for that. Also, shout out to anybody that's dealing with negative effects from both the booster and the COVID, wishing them a speedy recovery. And hopefully they'll be able to tune in and chop it up with us as we talk about Knicks. I want to give a few shout outs to some of our supporters holding us down in chat. SV Nation, we got Tom Ford saying this team is in trouble. We need a superstar. Tom Ford, salute to you. I actually saw you in chat in a Knicks Fan TV stream, so salute. You had a couple funny comments. Also, Geraldine MacGyver, salute Keith, Stephen Fox in the chat. Happy New Year.
My
We've
girl.
also got our guy Adele Chapman. I'm hitting that like button like a madman. I appreciate the support. We're gonna need all the support we can get. It's not great coming on here talking about Knicks losses, but we got to do it. We got to talk about it. So, Foxy, let's get into the game. Knicks lost 120-105. We've fallen now to 17 and 20. What were some of the things you saw in this game that really jumped out to you? I know one of the things a lot of fans are upset about is the fact that Deuce only played what 4 minutes, 5 minutes in the first quarter, and then we didn't
Yeah.
see him again until the fourth. So was that one of the things that really, grinded your gears with that term,
Th-
or what else?
Absolutely, man. It really upset me. I'm like saying to myself, and it's funny. It validated. I'm going through my head. I hit the stop, the pause, and I rewound it, and I'm looking at the last possessions, like saying, "What the hell did Deuce do?" For this to happen. And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Nope, nope." And I'm like, "Why is he doing this?" And I'm uber sensitive to him mistreating players because of what happened with Kemba, but I'm like saying to myself, and I'm talking to George, and I'm like with you, and I'm like saying, maybe the kid's not feeling well. Maybe he's going through what I went through this week, still getting back from COVID, not feeling himself. But I see him cheering on the sidelines. And then on top of that, I'm like saying, IQ is playing terrible. So it really upset me at the post game. Tibbs comments about why he didn't play Deuce. He played him 4 minutes and 44 seconds, took him out, and then really basically didn't bring him back to the fourth quarter. And he said he thought he needed more offense. Folks, IQ is not bringing in. Thank you, my friend. IQ is not bringing any offense. He had 5 points and one assist. He had what do you have? 4 turnovers for the day all together today. He did. So it wasn't his day. He shot 3 for 8, 1 for 4 from three. What the hell offense was he looking for? So, I guess he meant Burks, but I thought the Burks experiment at point guard was over. It made no sense to me, especially because of defense. Van Vliet was going off. I thought that he'd have a lot better shot, the Deuce, against him, even though he was matching him up on defense a lot with Gary Trent. So, Tibbs got me really upset today, folks, why he did that to Deuce. The kids are just really sensitive. If you do something wrong, we've seen turnovers and stupid plays and yanks them. But if you're not doing something and you yank them and you put in a player who's not having a game like IQ, what the hell? What message does that send? So
Yeah, I was upset that he yanked Deuce. Not initially, because initially I didn't know it was going to be for the majority of the game. He pulled him. I thought, okay, we'll see him again in a second. And when he inserted Burks into the lineup, you did see Burks create some offense. I think he knocked down 2 buckets, had 4 points real quick,
Yep.
and that did spur us. But for him to not go back to Deuce until late or midway through the fourth quarter, I think was criminal, especially when you got FVV going off. He had what, 35 points in this game. I'll pull up the box score and get the exact
35,
number.
5 and 5. Yeah.
Exactly. So for FVV to go off like that and to not even attempt to put Deuce in to see if he can give you some more defensive resistance against Van Vliet, I think that was a mistake. But there were a few things that Thibs was doing out there that I wasn't too fond of. And we're going to talk about, is Thibs the right option moving forward? But before we dive into that, let's get a little bit deeper into this box score. Obi Toppin, he was big news. He was going to be getting the second start with Julius Randle out due to COVID. And I think for the most part, he was solid. I don't think he was active enough rebounding wise. You saw that the moments where Siakam and them were able to get some offensive rebounds on us. And I thought Obi could have been more aggressive in that regard. But I think if you look at his stat line, he didn't play terrible. He had 19 points, 7-12 from the field. He had 6 rebounds, 6 steals, had 6 steals. 6 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steals. He was -9 for the game. So what were some of the things you saw from Obi? Did he show you anything that says we probably made a good move at 8 drafting him?
Not the way Halliburton's been playing this past month. Jesus Christ. Halliburton is like eating it up. I was sharing with Keith, and he already knows because he has him in fantasy. But jeepers, man, Halliburton is just going crazy this month. The NBA assist leaders in all of December: Halliburton at 132, Chris Paul at 129. NBA steals in December: Drew Holiday 27, Chris Paul 25, Therese Halliburton 24. Halliburton's only one of 3 players with 75 or more threes, and he's shooting over 47%. So no, I'm not looking at that number 8 pick and saying, gee whiz, I'm really happy we picked Obi. But regardless, so we have to so we have to live with that. But and we touched on this on a pregame the other day that Obi doesn't get credit for he's a good passer. He just hasn't been put in a situation. And I thought there was some parts of his game today or where we saw that passing talent. So I'd like, so he played as well as he could. Again, his shooting 1 for 4 from 3 and 7 for 12. He did hit a nice mid-range jumper. So those. Nice. Yeah, and you know what? His foul shooting was 4 for 4. He's really, I think he missed his first, like half of his first 9 or whatever, and now he's been on this tear. And I do believe in that old adage that if you're a good foul shooter, usually that eventually will translate to your jump shot. So I think his jump shot, both mid range and that 3, hopefully that consistency will come along. So Obi, had an Obi game. Unfortunately, he had 2 blocks, which is nice for Obi. He's not much on the blocks. The 6 rebounds. I'd like him to get more than that. But Obi wasn't the reason today why we had this why we lost. There were other elements, and we just touched on Thibs rotations. But I'll let you talk about who you want to go to next.
Okay, well, let's talk about RJ. Guy RJ. I'm a little bit disappointed, and I won't even say I'm really disappointed in RJ's performance today. There was a moment where there was a defensive lapse, and instead of RJ taking it upon himself and hashing it out on the sideline with the coaching staff or anything, or whatever case may be, he decided to point fingers out there on the court, throw his teammates under the bus. That's something I really didn't like to see from RJ. Also, I didn't feel like he was doing enough trying to, be aggressive attack and finish in the paint. We saw that against the Thunder, and we really didn't see that today against the Toronto Raptors. He had 19 points, 6 of 14 from the field, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 5 of 7 from the free-throw line. He also had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 4 turnovers. He did have a few crucial turnovers. Well, you can't even say crucial turnovers because it wasn't really a competitive game. If you're down 15-16, is it really considered a crucial turnover? But he did have some turnovers, I think, that were bad, especially with the fact that You want RJ Barrett to be a little bit more. You want him to be the primary playmaker out there, and tonight he really didn't exceed in that role.
It was funny because when he was pointing out the players for that, it was funny. I was pointing out RJ on the screen myself. I was like, just that's inexcusable, man. That is lack of leadership. I thought he'd say to himself, yeah, you know what? Jules is not here. I'm going to take on this leadership. I'm going to be clapping. I'm going to bring the guys in. But he had lackluster, his passes were lackluster. His defense, he was playing, I said to Keese that if Clyde was calling this game, you know how many times he'd be saying, oh, there's some Matador defense, Van Vliet, a couple of times it was like no effort. Forget about him taking a charge. It was just no effort. And you know what? I didn't think, and also in the first half, there were 2 plays, folks, where he literally did not pass to an open man. One of them ended up in a turnover that he committed, and the other one ended up, surprise, surprise, he got his shot blocked. So I'm really, really disappointed. I didn't think it was in his DNA to be selfish or in his DNA to be, point fingers at a teammate like that. That's totally not cool. I didn't, that's like I said, I didn't think that would be part of his makeup. Those things you're cool. You don't do that shit. And you get to the sideline and have some words or something like that. But I guess he was doing his Jalen Ramsey or a light version of Jalen Ramsey or something with his teammate. I don't know if you saw that today. He punched his teammate in the face in the huddle.
No, I didn't see that. Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
There's some crazy things going on in the NFL.
I know there's some. Yeah, because it happened on Washington.
Go ahead.
It happened on Washington's sideline last week too. One of the players got, 2 of the guys got into it, and the teammate punched his teammate in the head. So, but yeah, man.
Yeah,
so
that one I saw. I saw the highlight of that one.
Yeah, so I was not expecting RJ to do that stuff. I wasn't expecting RJ to show selfishness. I wasn't, I didn't like RJ showing lack of on defense, guys blowing past him. Folks, please never use all NBA defense and RJ in the same sentence ever again. Please. He's an okay defender. He's a solid defender. But jeepers, he's nowhere, and he will never be with his athleticism anywhere near an all-NBA player, man. On defense. Forget about offense, too.
Oh, here we go, Foxy. All right, let's talk about Quick a little bit. Quick, I've been on the channel saying that I believe Quick can be a point guard, but what we've seen in the last 2 games, he's really... It's like he's actively trying to prove me wrong out there. He did not look good. He's 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 4 from the 3-point line, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. I think he's still leading the NBA in free throw percentage. So I guess, kudos to him for that. He had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, but he also had 4 ugly turnovers. So Foxy, let me know how you feel about Quick. Was not a good showing for him, especially for those that are in the camp believing that he can play point guard in the NBA.
Hey, I've been saying for a while now, you heard me, I did not think that IQ is a point guard at all. I didn't ever see that in his game. I always thought he's a guy that comes off the bench and that he'd be very good at being a microwave scorer. But his way that he plays, I just don't see him being that type of player. And and this has gone on for the year. He is shooting. This is not including today's game, folks, but Quick is shooting 35% from 3. And I thought he was going to be a lot more elite than that. He's shooting 57% at the rim, 43% for mid-range. And like you said, he didn't put anybody in their place tonight on offense. And could we stop for half a second, Keith? You said something to me that was just so epic to me. What the hell was going on with that? What offense were we running today?
No clue. No,
I know.
It was laissez-faire. Do as you please out there. There was no structure.
No structure. There's times I'm like saying they're just standing around. What the hell are they doing? And it wasn't even ISO ball at a point. I'm like, they look totally lost. At one point, there was a play where quickly dribbled to the right baseline corner by like the corner 3, and there were 2 guys over there now. So there are 3 Knicks within 3 feet of each other. Like, what is going on here? An educated point guard doesn't do that. They understand to create the spacing, not destroy the spacing. So IQ is not a point guard. And if he keeps shooting like this, I don't know if he's going to be much of a shooting guard either. Meaning he has to shoot better than he is, than it has been, and it's just not who he is to be a point guard. I'm very, very strong about a lot of it is instinctual. It comes from the Lord, and I just don't think he sees doesn't see the floor the way others see the floor. And I'll say this: I think in a very, very, very small sample size, I think that Deuce has better traits to be a point guard and playmaker than IQ.
Yeah, Foxy, it was confusing because you saw at times, even with with Quick and Burks out there, we weren't really getting into a flow, and you would have liked to see Deuce get inserted in there to see if he can, maybe get some penetration, get some pick and rolls, get some easy shots out there for Obi and other players out there on the perimeter. But Thibs, for some reason, felt like Deuce did not give us the best chance to win. And from what we've seen in other games, when he had 15 and 9, I mean, he was a contributor. Even in the game where he didn't score any points and we had to fight back, the bench had to go on a barrage in order for us to win. He didn't score, he didn't impact the game in that way, but he showed that there's other ways for him to make or be a difference maker out there. So yeah, Thibs is saying he wanted to get a little bit more offense out there, et cetera, but Fred VanVleet was lighting us up. So
He's been doing that to other guys in the league. I think he's had 3 games in a row like this. So, hey, he's playing at a very, very high level. Front office, did you hear that? Mm-hmm. For somebody that didn't want him. Yeah. So, so I'm watching, and it was funny. It was validated. I'm seeing Fred Katz. I'm seeing Tom Piccolo. I'm seeing all these guys right after I put out a tweet saying, "Hey, I just rewound this, and I'm going through plays. What the hell did Deuce do so wrong to be benched like this? I'm looking for a bad play, a stupid play, and I couldn't find one." So I'm like saying, this is bullshit, man. Thibs.
Yeah, one bad turnover. That's about it.
That's one bad turnover. I know that, but
you're allowed to make at least one mistake. I don't understand why Thibs went crazy with it.
Or if you're Randall RJ, you can make 4 or 6 bad mistakes.
I mean, in the second quarter, they had 9 turnovers, and
for the game,
Goose still couldn't get reinserted. That's crazy.
27 points tonight, folks, from our turnovers. I think we had 18 turnovers, 17 turnovers.
17. So, yep.
Yeah. So yeah, playing like shit. So his nepotism, his favoritism toward IQ, and yeah. So I don't understand his rotations. Fournier, it's like, whoa, but Fournier, he scored 20 points today, but on the other side of the ball, you just watch and it's like, what's he doing on defense or not doing on defense is probably the best.
We call him.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew. Yeah, the Pepe Le Pew dance. Thanks, Fournier. We're going to create something viral because of you. So
I don't know about that, but that's how he looks out there when he's trying to play defense, just flailing in the wind. But let's talk about Grimes. Grimes, I know one thing we've been talking about on the channel, he hasn't made a mid-range jump shot, but we saw him able to knock down
number one tonight, folks.
Yeah. I mean, with Grimes, you still see that handle is an issue for him. He really can't create off the dribble for himself unless he's attacking a defender that's overcommitting. So that's one thing I think that was glaring. I mean, there was one play where he was in the corner and he kind of did a spinning motion and he went nowhere. I was like, Grimes, what you try to do with that one? But what did you feel about Quentin Grimes and some of the things you saw from him tonight?
I think he is phenomenal on defense. I think his help defense is spectacular. So in this, you try to take some good things out of a game like this, and Grimes to me absolutely was one of the things. He had 13 points. He shot. He had a couple of games where his 3-pointer wasn't shooting, so he was 2 for 4, 4 for 7 for the game in terms of field goals, but 2 for 4 from 3. So I was. So I thought but his defense is what stood out for me, especially his help defense. So a lot of things that I think that he did tonight, and how many, he had 4 steals, folks. I thought so. So what could you ask more for him? He had 22 minutes, played excellent help defense, played great defense all around. It was a pain in the ass for them. He was the only guy, and there was a couple of switches on guys like Scotty Barnes, who's huge. He's only 6'4". He's probably 6'3" and change in shoes, Grimes. He's going up against a really big guy, and he's not afraid to bang him, put his body. But both him and Deuce, and again, some of the things that piss me off is that they slide. Again, it doesn't show up in a box score. They stop penetration. They put their body there. Really nice. And so I thought Grimes was really, really one of the big bright spots. And again, just emphasizing his great defense, man. And if he keeps hitting those threes, and folks, he hit his first of his career, first mid range. Every shot he's hit this year, like 99% 3-pointers and a couple of layups, but hasn't hit a mid range jumper yet. Tonight was the night, and hopefully it'll be many more in his career. But Keys touched on it. We talked, before the season started, when doing my draft analysis, that elite 3-point shooter, literally has no mid-range game, has handles, especially going to his left, doesn't have that. But those are the things to work on. But he's a very good defender, and we saw that. So I could live with IQ's game today a lot more than I could live with some of the other guys' games. That's damn sure. RJ played like shit on defense tonight.
Yeah, earlier on, he got abused by OG. Put him in the paint on 2 occasions and got an easy bucket. And is this how we're going to start the game off? I was like, yeah.
But it just keeps, jumping off to me, how slow he is. I just keep looking sometimes and I go, jeepers, he's so damn slow. I never thought that he was going to be this slow when we got him out of Duke a couple of years ago, man. But every game I watch him, I'm just stunned at how slow, how heavy-legged of a player he is.
Yeah, he definitely does lack explosion. Foxy, let's jump into the chat, see what some people are saying about the game. If you have any comments about the game, let us know in the chat. We'll put it on screen. Stanley Mann says, IQ really got lit up by FVV. He has to exhibit more tenacity fighting through the screen to contest shots.
Hey, Stanley, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for all your support. As usual, Stanley, you're right on target, man. He wasn't doing anything. Fred is playing really, really good basketball, and some of the shots he put up, like, wow, that went in. I wasn't expecting that to go in, but when you're that type of player, but yeah. And also, like you said, besides not lighting up, he wasn't doing other things. Thibs has always said, if your shots are not hitting, you got to do other things. He wasn't setting other players up. First half, he only had 1 assist. He only had 5 points. So that's why when Thibs made that comment about I was looking for more offense, that's why I benched Deuce. You weren't getting that damn offense from IQ, that's for sure. And Burks had 11 for the game, so he wasn't getting it from Burks either.
Yeah, he got it in that little spurt, but after that, we really didn't get much. And that's why I wanted more of Deuce. You see FVV out there cooking. Let's see what Deuce can do matched up against him. But I guess Thibs felt he wanted to go another route, and
favoritism
didn't work out overall. Yeah, let's see. SGP NYC says the team is evolving, so he is struggling as well. Others to find their niche. I mean, there is going to be a period of adjustment. We took Julius Randle out the lineup, and if you look at this roster, it's pretty much a bunch of role players. So it's going to take some time for them to gel. They're on the road. I'm pretty sure they're not getting a lot of time to practice. So coming into this game, I didn't expect us to win. This was more so a game where I was able to scout the talent, see what some of these guys can do and see what they can't do. That's why, I'm focusing a lot on some of the younger players, because heading into this game, I wanted to see if Quick was going to be able to show us something running point. I wanted to see more of Deuce out there, see what we have in him as a future point guard. You wanted to see RJ step up in this moment with no Randle and him having to lead the team as the primary scorer, primary playmaker. And the fact that
and playing at home,
and playing in Toronto, even though he's only going to play in Toronto twice a year.
Yeah, but at least come out and show up in front of your fans and everything, light them up, show them like, yo.
The crowd was empty.
He didn't even do that.
The crowd was empty. I
Yeah,
probably
that's
wanted Randall to come back for this game, see how he would have performed in an empty crowd. I would have liked to see that. That would have been a nice experiment to run, but unable to do that. So I came into this game looking for some answers, and I wasn't able to get those answers to these questions, or even the answers I did get, they weren't what I would have liked. So this game, bad loss for that reason. Because again, I didn't come into the game expecting us to win. This was more so, like we've said it in previous shows, defense and development. I want to see what we have in these young guys. So put them out there on the court. Thibs robbed us of that by not playing Deuce for too many minutes, and it's unfortunate.
and he could have played Grimes a hell of a lot more too, more than 22 minutes.
Yep.
So, and
let's talk about Knox before we move forward and talk
do we
about
have
Thibs
to?
a little bit more.
How many times
he was out there on the court?
How many times during the game today, and you and I said the same thing at the same time when we texted each other, it's like, how many rebounds have gone off this guy's hands? Potential rebounds that he could have had. It's like, what are he hanging out with Noel for Butterfingers, and just his energy and everything. And, brought up our friend, our buddy JD said, you know what? It'd be a crime if Knox goes someplace and lights it up. I'm at the point like, good, let him go. Let him go someplace and light him. Just get him the hell out of here. His energy, his missed defensive assignments, his missed boxing out on rebounds. This amount of years, you'd think he'd be playing at a different, caliber, meaning with a different energy level, playing for his life, literally for his basketball life. Didn't feel it at all. He had his proverbial, traveling mood, call. I've just had it with Knox. He's like, every time he has an opportunity, it's like Frank Ntilikina all over again. Every time he gets sick, whether he got a turnover, he got sick, it's always, something comes up with him. I'm tired of the drama, can't wait for this guy to get the hell off the team. Just put him at the end of the bench and let everybody else play.
As soon as he hit that turnover, I sent a text. Knoxing again.
Yeah. Yep, he's Knoxing again, man. And Hoodie Kev, if you're hearing that, I'm sorry, bro. He sucks.
Yeah, it's still a lot of the same issues with Kevin Knox. You didn't see the effort out there defensively. Rebounding still an issue. I think the rebounds for the Knicks, I think, was an issue the whole game. I don't know what they're teaching them out there, but it seems like they're doing too much tapping. Grab the rebound, come down with it. You have Knox tapping the ball out of bounds over and over again. Same thing with Obi. Obi's either tapping it out of bounds, or he's tapping.
Yeah,
there
was a play with Taj that it got me cranky, man. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, what's going on with their rebound? Secure the rebound. Don't just tap it around, because you tap it. It's like in football, in the end zone, they say don't tap interception, bat it to the ground. Basketball, don't tap the ball around. Make sure you secure it, and then at least you can pass it on to your point guard or your guard and have them bring it up the court. So that was frustrating to watch. But Kevin Knox has continued to be disappointing, man. This is an opportunity. This was another opportunity that was missed for Kevin Knox. He's had some opportunities that you can't hold against him, whether it be for COVID or things like that. But he got 18 minutes out there on the court. The stats look decent, 7 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from the 3-point line, 4 rebounds, 1 block, and 2 turnovers. But if you were out there watching, you really didn't get any encouraging signs from Kevin Knox. And we're short-handed, so Knox is going to get more opportunities to showcase his talent for both us and other teams in the league. But the sucky part is, with COVID, you really don't know how the trade market is going to be for the rest of the year. So he may still be on this team by the time his contract expires, but hopefully we're able to move on from him and get an asset in return.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm also Luka Shamanik and stuff like that. Bring up Luka, let him get any of the minutes that you wanted to throw to Knox. We've seen enough of Knox, and the one thing is Knox is consistently Knox. So that's what I'm just over him so much already that let somebody else get some burn in the minutes you're going to put. Luka has better size than him. Luka is can shoot just as well as him. And like we were saying, he makes so many mistakes and technique mistakes, not boxing out, or he's like a deer in the headlights. There's times I pause it, rewind it, like, what the hell was he thinking? He's just like I don't know what's going through this kid's head. Like, what's on his mind, but it sure ain't the game, man. And like I said, it drives me crazy that he's literally playing for his basketball life, folks. Where was that energy of somebody like saying, I got to do this, man. I got to play. I got to be, I got to be really intense. He's just his normal doofy motherfucker.
No sense of urgency.
No sense of urgency, man.
Yeah. All right. We've got a pretty good comment from Kaiser Souls 718. He said, we had a midget with no hops, Taj Gibson in the paint. The Raptors went to the basket at will. I think the absence of Mitch, we really felt that today. It was like layup lines. They were getting into the paint at will, and when they weren't converting the basket, they were able to get an offensive rebound and go back up. So, Foxy, let me know your thoughts on
who was their big though?
Mitch not being available.
But meaning it's not like we were there was a 7-footer that was killing us all night, and we had guys 6'8".
Well, no, it's not that they were killing us all night. It's that when they did get penetration and get it to the paint, there was no resistance. It was just get to the basket, put your shot up, and go about your business. If we had Mitch there, like for example,
absolutely, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Had 1 minute left in the third quarter. The Toronto Raptors already had 42 points in the paint. On the season, the Knicks averaged 41.9 points in the paint for the game. So they had already eclipsed. We had already allowed them to eclipse our season average. I think with Mitch, you would have seen there would have been a lot more resistance at the paint, and it wouldn't have been as easy for players to both convert and get offensive rebounds and put the shot back up. So what do you think was Mitchell Robinson's absence felt in this game tonight, or do you think it would have been a similar result regardless who's in that center?
No, I think it would have been a difference with Mitch there. Absolutely. I think he would have, and like I said, with nobody there, I think if we had somebody that could have penetrated and, put him in a position for lobs, and also he's an elite offensive rebounder. So, we shot 33%, I think. 33% from 3 tonight. Yeah, so Mitch absolutely would have made a difference compared to Taj. It's no doubt he would have made a difference. So it's a shame. It's a shame. And you know what? And again, it's aggravating me that these are games that I'd love to see Sims in there. Noel, I'm over also, him and Knox are in my I'm over bus, but I would have loved to see Sims get some burn. I hope he gets back in the next few games. We definitely need a 5 in there, folks.
So Foxy, we got 2 very interesting comments. We got one from Stanley Mann where he says we need a new coach. Thibs is not the guy to develop our young guys. Hopefully he retires after this year and we elevate Johnny Bryant to head coach. And then we have another one from Knicks for Life saying changing the coach doesn't change the fact we lack real talent. So let's talk about the front office and the coaching staff. What have you seen from Thibs so far this season? Is he showing you that he could be the guy to help get the most out of these young players, even though he refuses to put them in positions to succeed, whether that giving them quality minutes to get into a rhythm or at least running some plays to get them some quality looks? How do you feel about Thibs' tenure so far as coach?
I think we need to move on. I really do. I don't think he's the right for this team and this roster. And we saw tonight, folks, that he had an opportunity. You can't blame anything on McBride's second or third game back from COVID. How is he supposed to get a rhythm? This game's all about rhythm. How are you supposed to get rhythm in 4 minutes of play? You're basically just getting warmed up by that time when you start a game. Like, okay, I got in. So he's made plays. So he's shown favoritism in his tenure toward Randle. To me, he's had 3 strikes already. The first one, his handling of Kemba this season threw the host season off. One thing is saying to a guy, you know what, I'm demoting you to the second team, but taking him out of the rotation impacted the whole locker room. People, whatever you feel about Kemba, the reality, he's loved, and rightly so. He's a really good guy. He's a class act. He handled it and everything. So to be treated that way, that was like inexcusable to me, to just do that without having a reason where everyone's like, yeah, all right, cool. I could do that. But so that was that. And then also with Randle, Randle's play, obviously, folks, we saw it tonight. You can't 20, 10, and 5 regardless is hard to replace. We missed Julius. And let's just be cool about it that we missed 2010
Obi did
and
his
5.
best imitation though. The 19-6-6.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But his it's contagious thing. His refusal to discipline Randle when he has bad attitude, bad turnovers, ISO, all the things about that impact the rhythm of this team and everything that just spread. And you know what? The minute I saw RJ point the finger today, that really disappointed me, as we talked about. I'm like saying, I could see where he got the lesson from Randle and from Thibs. You don't pull that shit if all of a sudden you see a coach, another player do something similar, and the coach yank his ass out and basically a shot across the bow to the rest of the players on the team. You have a bad attitude. You have bad body language on this court. You're done. Would you see that shit with Belichick on football or something? No. You didn't, Pops. You saw what he did with Luka Doncic. You didn't hustle. You're out of here. Where the hell is that type of, he came here, he's old school and everything. I'm not saying old school. I'm saying favoritism. And nobody likes favoritism. So, and strike threes, again, the lack of in-game adjustments, whether, seeing Roby and Mascular, hitting threes the other day after seeing Turner this year, and saying, you know what, let's call a timeout. We're not doing the perimeter. I got to put in a different guys here. We're not doing the, covering 3-pointers and stuff like that. I haven't seen, plays out of timeouts this season. Some of the worst plays I've seen all season long out of timeouts. What the hell is this guy doing? You nailed it. Lack of innovation on offense. What the hell is he doing from an offensive scheme? And if Randle is a barrier to getting a better offense, then that's on Thibs. Then make a statement and saying, no, we can't do this anymore. A point guard's the ball has to go through a point guard. Julius, your bad decision making. And the reality is with Julius, the league has found out Julius. They found out his kryptonite, and the problem is it's not one thing. There's multiple things what's wrong. And we saw it with Atlanta last year. You throw two guys at Randle, and it's either bad decision making or late decision making for him to kick it out and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, getting back to Stanley's comment and others, I agree with, Knicks for life. Changing the code doesn't change the fact, and we'll get to that front office. You're 100% right. But the things that I talked about, plays out of timeouts, lack of innovation, bad adjustments, bad rotations, that's not on the players. That's on Thibs, folks.
Yeah, Thibs. I've had my issues with Thibs since he got here. Last year, we were winning, so a lot of it got swept under the rug because he's had issues with his rotations time and time again. And even now, when COVID kind of pretty much has him in a full Nelson, he's refusing to really get some of these young guys the amount of minutes they need for us to understand who we have on this roster. So Thibs, for me, wouldn't have been the coach I went with. I would have preferred Kenny Atkinson. I said it time and time again. He's a coach that has shown the ability to work with young players and help advance or improve their games. Now, Thibs, has he shown the ability to work with some young players in other spots? I guess. But at this point in his career, I really don't want to put players like an RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, put their career trajectories in his hands. I would have preferred it been in a player like Kenny Atkinson, where we saw positive results from players like D'Angelo Russell. But we have Thibs now. It's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do when he's stuck having to play some of these younger guys. Because we all know in Thibs' perfect world, he would not be playing, Deuce, Quentin, or maybe Quentin Grimes. It seems like he's pretty fond of Quentin Grimes, but he wouldn't be playing Knox these extended minutes. He'd probably be getting Nerlens Noel more involved. I mean, even with Taj, we've seen Taj get extended minutes over some of our younger guys. And to me, it's just mind-blowing, especially when it looks like this might not be the season where we're going to be as good as we expected. And if it's going to be one of those type of seasons, we have to get something out of this season. And that's knowing what we have with some of these young players so that the front office can make adjustments in the offseason or at the end of the season. So for Thibs to continue to be stuck in his ways, I think it's gonna, in the long run, it's gonna be detrimental to his team.
Yeah, and today's players are not the same attitude as 10 years ago. They won't put up for crap. So, and also to finish up on Stanley's, thanks again, Stanley. We really appreciate your questions about Johnny Bryant. No, whether it's Johnny Bryant and whether it's Kenny Payne, the attitudes, the body language, the other things, that's on the assistant coaches as much as it on the head coach in my book, because they spend a hell of a lot more time with the assistant coaches. So no, Kenny Atkinson has experience as a head coach. This is like bringing in for the Jets, Salah or somebody else. Or the Giants, bringing me a real coach. I don't want them learning on my dime how to become a head coach. And so, no, I wouldn't go Johnny Bryant at all. I'd go with an Atkinson. I'd go with a Mark Jackson before I'd go with a Johnny Bryant.
Facts. So let's talk about the front office as well. Leon Rose, they've been solid with their draft picks. I can't complain about what they've done, even though some people might argue that we didn't draft any elite talent in the draft. Based on where we were, I think we made solid selections. So I think that's a plus for this front office. But when you look at what they've done with roster construction, when it comes to them spending money or blowing the bag, you've got to say this team has missed tremendously. You're looking at Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, he started initially, then got benched. He was reinserted into the starting lineup due to COVID, and he's had this emergence. But now we're hearing there's more trouble with his knees, and we're still not getting any information on his long-term availability. You got Evan Fournier. He's been terrible on defense, and he hasn't had the offensive output to kind of overcome his defensive liabilities. And if you look at the way Julius Randle has kind of accepted those two players, it seems like it's just not a right fit. So let me know what you think about Leon Rose and this front office and what they've been able to do within free agency, and if you think that they are capable of fixing this team in free agency next season.
No, I don't.
Or even do trades this year. But they do have a good track record of trade. I'll give them that.
One trade, Derrick Rose.
Two. I'll also say I like the trade that got us when we were in the Philadelphia 76ers trade. We got an additional second round pick, and we used that on Sims. So we've got some.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Norvell Pell for a second. I was like, yeah,
no, Norvell Pell. Is he playing for Philly now?
I don't know.
It's all these replacement players all over the place.
I don't know if the SV Nation will like my answer, but I got to keep it real. It's who I am. That's why, I'm Foxy. That, folks, for this team to be a team for the future, I absolutely think that we have to play the kids this year, even if it means us losing the playoffs. You know how much I analyze the draft. I live for it my whole life, taking my notes. You can't get, every once in a while, statistically, you're going to get a diamond in the rough, but you can't pick 20 and later. All you're going to get 20 and later is excellent role players. You're not going to get elite players at that level. Maybe a couple of, what about Joker? That's one. Keep going. The bottom line is we have to get top 5 talent. So if we get in the top 10, use our assets, we need literally a couple of years of getting a top 5 talent. And you know what? I was looking at, and it's early, we're going to be getting at this stuff, but there's a kid out of Purdue, Jaden Ivey, 6'4", 6'5". He's electric, great on defense already. He's a sophomore, so he's not a one and done. Played great in playing like a FIBA ball and stuff like that. I would trade RJ. I swear to God, I would trade RJ to get athleticism, electric on this team. We need the kids we have, Grimes, Deuce, Sims. They're wonderful around a star, but they're not good enough. They just aren't good enough to be. And there's a reason Grimes was picked 25th. There's a reason Deuce was picked 36th. There's a reason Sims was picked 58th. There's a reason guys are picked in the top 5. And so I want us, if we don't make the playoffs this year, that'll be music to my ears. Honest. I don't mean anything. It'd be because if we're picking 10th or something, then use other draft assets, get us a top 5 player. Get us, you see the Evan Mobleys, you see what a difference of an elite player makes. And the reality is RJ will never be an elite player, ever. He'll have a good NBA career, but his lack of handles, his lack of bad footwork. I brought this up with in the post game with George the other night that he's never going to get faster. He's never going to jump higher. He's never going to get quicker. Meaning first step is everything in this with RJ. But you look at other guys like James Harden. James Harden, I would never call a quick, fast guy, but his handles and everything, he gets to a spot. You think he's De'Aaron Fox. He gets where he wants when he wants to. He has phenomenal feet, Harden. RJ doesn't. So I said, I don't care if he has to take ballet or whatever, but the reality is RJ will be a good NBA player, but he will never be a great NBA player. And statistically, for you to ever win a chip, you have to have two great players on your team, not just one. You have to have two very good ball players and meeting elite status usually. So for us to get elite status, there's not a trade because if we get an elite player, we're going to have to clean out the house. So that elite player would be playing with mediocre talent and with no more draft assets just to get one elite talent on this team. That's not going to do it. The only way we can do it is go back the old way, look at some of the other teams and say, shit, folks, shit, fans, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to elongate the timeline. We're going to have another couple tough years. But if we get a couple of great players with some of the kids we have, Deuce, Grimes, and go from there, I could build a great team. But you can't build a great team with, this is like you said, on the veteran side, they're journeymen. And on the kid side, they're picks 20 and later, and their talent only goes so far.
Want to give a shout out to Kaiser Soze 718 for the $4.99 super chat, saying, "Face it, Fox, we should have tanked last year. Tell me what that fourth seed did for development this season. Nothing. We need to get a franchise player." I won't say we should have tanked, but I did mention to you that I think Julius Randle and the Knicks' performance last season probably did a lot more to hurt our long-term.
I love that epic comment
than it did. That it benefited, because now you put us in a situation where it kind of expedites the franchise building process. You hire a coach like Tom Thibodeau, you have a guy like Julius Randle performing to the way he did last season, and the expectations go through the roof. And like you said, we do have a lot of draft picks. We do have some that are high picks, not top 5, RJ is, but we've got Obi, we've got Knox, so we do have some players that we invested high draft picks, and in the Knox case, it didn't work. Obi, it's still open to judge, I guess. But
not after you see what Halliburton's doing.
Yeah, Halliburton. I mean, that goes back to the front office, because if you look at the timeline, I kind of put together a little bit of timeline. So if you work your way back, you kind of ask yourself more and more questions. So, for example, we signed to Kemba and Evan to long-term deals. Well, Kemba's 2 years, Evan's 4 years. That hasn't worked out. Well, you did that move to appease Julius Randle, to build a team around Julius Randle, make things easier for him, because you just gave him that contract extension. But you gave him the contract extension. It doesn't seem like he gels with the two players that you signed. And on top of the contract extension for Julius Randle, if you go back a little bit further, you drafted Obi Toppin. So now you just gave Julius Randle a contract extension to block your highly coveted first-round pick. And you look at the chains that the chain of move that this front office has done, and there's no cohesion. There's nothing really vibes together. It looks like they were just trying to throw things against the wall and see what stuck. It seemed like they really wanted to draft Obi, so that's what they did, even though they knew Julius Randle was ahead of him in the depth chart. Then Julius Randle went off and completely threw their plans in the trash, threw it in the shredder. But if you look at it in hindsight, we should have went Halliburton, because at least then we would have had a solid option at guard who looks to be a difference maker, and he would have paired a lot better with Julius Randle. So there's a lot of question marks with this front office.
Yeah, and first of all, Kaiser Soze, always great insight, great old friend now, know him for a while. Hope all is well. Hope you had a nice New Year with your family. And he nailed it, man. I felt the same thing, that, the year that we drafted RJ, we're just cursed. It's like you had Darius Garland and that's it. It was really, if you look at the people that were picked in that, it was a terrible thing. Last year was the draft. Last year, Kaiser's 100% right. Last year was the draft. We should have tanked last year. What the hell did it get us? Nothing. But if we got any of those guys, oh my God. And also what we heard, we could have had Duarte, but we refused to say we'll guarantee it to him. So what is coming, so if we said to Duarte, he would have said to everyone, I'm not working out for any other team, man. Don't even pick me. Don't pick me. So there was a whole other thing. So what's coming off to me is we have agents. We don't have basketball people running this organization. Their assessments, talent assessment. Hey, you know what? This year, Zach's an unrestricted free agent. Jalen Brownson is coming to his own at point guard this year for Dallas. He's an unrestricted free agent this year. So this past year, whether it was Burks or others, you know what? 1-year contracts. Give us leverage. So no. So what do? You sign these journeymen, I'll call them, or whatever, takes away all of our leverage. And who can we get now? Nobody. So what the hell is this front office doing? So it's just the World Wide West. Oh man, they have the connections. Leon Rose. No, you may have connections, but we're not seeing it as Knicks fans. So they're not basketball people. They're agents. It's two different things. So, and I'm glad, but we brought in, the guy from Utah, and we brought in all these other guys, and,
Perrin's a cat guy.
No, well, actually, Brock Aller is the cat guy.
You're right.
Yeah. So Walt Perrin is the quote unquote draft guru, but you know what? You could be the biggest draft guru in the world, but all you're going to get where we're picking and also taking 19 and dropping down to 20. Wow, we're getting. So what the hell is 4,623 second round picks are going to do for us? We need talent. No, you take our things and you move up. You move up for a guy who can be a centerpiece, a foundational piece for a team for 10 years. What are you doing? You're moving down. You're getting us really good role players. You don't win with role players in this league.
See, but that's why I really don't want to tank this season. I would prefer us to.
We're going to tank even if we don't want to.
You never know. We've seen this team click at times. It's a rough. We're in a rough patch. We're in a rough patch right now. But if Julius Randle's able to return, and if we're able to see some positive play from RJ and some of those other guys out there, I think we can still be competitive. And in that case, I'm cool with us being in the play-in, trying to compete for the playoffs, continue to try to build a winning culture, even though this season is going to be a step back. But I want us to continue to try and build that winning culture. And if we tank, I don't think it's going to bode well for some of these young guys. You don't want them to come in and have this continuous losing efforts. And if we're losing, I don't think Thibs is going to put those guys in for quality minutes. He's still going to play the vets. So I would like to see us continue to play well. I would like to see the young guys continue to play well, get minutes, get into the rotation. And if we don't get into the first round, if we falter at a playing game, I'm fine with that. But then at least in the draft, we have still a deep roster and a treasure trove of draft picks. If we need to move up and down, not down, if we need to move up the draft, then we have the assets there. But I don't want to go through another season of sustained losing. That's what I don't want to see.
But let me ask you this question. Where the hell's the energy? You're talking about culture. What culture are we building that not only at first it was the vets that are showing lack of energy, but some of the young guys are showing lack of energy the last couple of games. So what great culture is this front office building or Thibs building? I've never seen a culture that builds bad energy. I just see so us, what you're saying, playing and competitive and then saying, you know what? We gave it the great old try, and we didn't get into players, but at least we were in the play-in. Now we have the 19th pick again, or a 20th pick. That's not going to do us any good. So that's going to build our culture, having a mediocre team. No, the only thing that builds culture is winning. And then to win in this league, you have to have the talent. And what we're seeing more and more is the level of talent on this team, and also the bad front office again. So we're saying, wow, look what the front office did. We have all this leverage, all this cap room. Boom, we have no more cap room. All right, what did we get for all that no cap room? Oh my God, that's what we got. And what? And if they were really from an assessment standpoint, looking in the past, looking past, you have to be. They have all this analytics now to say we can't look at an isolated data point. We have to look at trends. If you look at the trends of the 5-year career prior to Julius's great year last year, that should have bells and whistles. Said, you know what? If he walks, he walks. But you know what? We have a shitload of money to get another power forward in this league. It's a different thing. I'm old school in the sense that if you have a wing or a point guard, then you sign them. But if you have a power forward's a hell of a lot easier to replace in my book than a wing in today's NBA and stuff like that. So you know what? Hang out, hold off a year, and if Julius wants to walk as enough, then let him walk. But let him put up another year, and then we'll pay him. But we paid him, and now it hasn't even gone into effect yet. We owe him $126 million in change guaranteed. And who wants to pick that up? If we're going to trade him, we're just going to get somebody with the same issues.
Yeah, but I don't think Julius Randle's contract's that bad. He's played bad to start the season, true.
But who wants him? Who would want him?
I don't think anybody. We're not going to hear who would want him because this COVID. There's not really a lot of trade buzz. But I think if Julius Randle were on the open market, somebody, a competitor or a contender, would make a move if they felt
a contender
make their team better. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think Julius Randle can still be the third option on a solid team. Look at Aaron Gordon. They made a move for Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon isn't the greatest player in the world, but Aaron Gordon can contribute as a third option on a team that's contending. So I think Julius Randle.
I think last year created a monster with Julius. I think in his mind from this point on, he looks at himself as a number one option in the NBA. And
not if he changes locker rooms.
I don't know.
It's a different story.
You think so? You think he's capable of that?
Listen, hey, you move from one culture to a culture of a team that's actually trying to move towards something as a unit, trying to build together, and they're already in a position and they just need one more piece to get over the top. I think he'll fall in line. Because remember, Julius Randle's not paid like a number one. He accepted a contract in which he wasn't paid like number one. So to me, I think he'd be okay taking a step back. It's just on this team, Julius Randle doesn't look at anybody in that locker room and say, okay, I need to defer to you. And I think that's a big problem.
Well, folks, you know how much I love my guy Keese. So any front office out there on a winning team, do me a favor, pick him up as your third option, trade for him, give us assets, because I'd love Julius to be off this team. Yeah, I know we're missing him right now, the 2010-5, but when he comes back, Julius is, like we said about Knox. Knox is consistently Knox. Randle will be consistently Randle when he comes back.
Well, Fox, if that's the case, then Foxy, we need to hurry up and get Randle out of town as quickly as possible, because there's no hope. Because if Randle can't even be the third option on a championship team, then we're in a shithole at this point, because we got somebody that's not even a third option, masquerading as the guy. And that's a hell of a spot to be in right now. It's, regardless of how many picks we got, regardless of our cap situation, we're in trouble. Like some people,
you saw my notes.
Julius Randle as the second.
Yeah, I wrote an 11-page treatment for this show tonight, folks, that I shared with Keith, obviously, and I'm saying blow this team up. I absolutely would blow this team up if I was the GM of this team. If I came in as the new GM, I would blow them up. I trade Randle. And I would, if I had the right thing, I'd trade RJ in a second. I'd stick with Grimes. I think Grimes will be a good NBA player. I love guys who play D and everything. Talk about culture. Your culture starts on defense. So I love that. And Deuce is the same way. But if RJ and Randle are the face of this franchise, then we're a losing franchise. I'd blow it up. I'd go for a draft pick. So like Kaiser said, this year there's about 4 or 5 studs, in the top 5, the top 10 actually, but the top 5, you got a couple of really sensational players. So I'd go for it, man. I'd go for it and go, because it's killing me that the teams that I'm talking about, I'm willing to go through a couple of years, but Detroit will get a draft choice this year, and then Cade in that draft choice. Orlando, you see all these teams that had that, but they just drafted over, like Kaiser said, this past year, and they drafted elite young talent that, they're going to have their hiccups the first couple of years, but their talent is there. And that talent gets refined. They're going to be fantastic. We're just limited with the talent. We can't refine, you can't do much more with RJ. RJ will get smarter, more savvy, but he'll never be elite, ever. Especially on defense, too.
I won't argue saying that we won't be winning. I won't argue with you and say, because you said RJ and Randle aren't going to be the duo that'll make us or turn us into a winning franchise. I won't argue against that, but I will say I would believe that there are teams around the league that can view Julius Randle as the third piece on a championship team.
I hope you're 100% right, because I want them to do it as February 3rd is a blink away. I hope they're out there. Go for it. And if somebody's willing to, hey, like I said to you, if we said, I'll trade you an RJ and whatever for that draft pick, and that draft pick is Jaden Ivey, I'd do it in a freaking second, man. Freaking second. If I could trade Julius Randle and
Dr. J.
If I could trade Julius Randle and that draft pick turns into Jabari Smith, I'd do it in a second.
Yeah, you know me. I'm not against trading Julius Randle. I'm trading Julius Randle.
Oh, I know. You were the smart one. You were against Julius from day one, man. You were smart.
Yeah, but I won't say he can't be the third option. I think that's a little shot. That's a shot at my guy, Julius Randle. My guy.
I'm not saying he's a third option. I'm just saying, will he accept being a third option and without sulking, with that body language again?
It's easy for him to sulk when you're playing the way we're playing. But if you send him to a team that they're playing much better as a unit, I don't think there's a place for that. You don't really see that. You only hear about these things with teams that are struggling. You don't hear about players sulking when there's wins involved. Win masquerades a lot of things. It covers a lot of stenches. And if Julius Randle goes to a team that's playing hard, they're competing night in and night out, I think he would conform to a team with a better structure around him.
Yeah,
especially as the third option. I think so.
Yeah, I'll use this analogy. You and I are both into mixed martial arts, and grew up my fire watching boxing from a young age with my dad, and my dad taught me at real young that if you take a puncher, and he's lost a couple of fights, and they're going to say, you know what, we need to work on your style a little. You need to become a little more boxing. I need you to with that jab instead of coming in, and getting caught like that. The minute he hits one shot or things go wrong, goes right back to being a puncher. You just can't teach. It's muscle memory, and that's the same thing I'm going to say about Julius. The minute things don't go right for him, muscle memory will take over for the rest of his career. In my mind, that he'll sulk, he'll have bad attitude, bad body language. The minute something bad goes down, he can't help it. It's in his DNA. That's gonna happen. So the minute he gets touched on that chin, all of a sudden he goes back to the only thing he knows, yelling at refs, looking at that is everybody else's fault when he causes a turnover. When the shot doesn't go in, pressing and everything else, having to shoot a foul shot with 4 seconds left to win a game. Yo, that's who he is, man.
Oh, yeah. Let me give a shout out to B. Simmons. My bad. It took a little time for us to get to the super chat. Me and Fox were getting into things real quick. My fault. But B. Simmons is saying Knicks front office and coaching staff don't have a long time to make moves. Leon Rose and Thibs have a 16-month window to get it right. Otherwise, bye. I won't say it's an 18-month window, but you don't want to see regression. So anytime, you can't go from the 4th seed and to now being a fringe playing team and think people aren't going to be upset.
Yeah, February's the third year with Leon Rose in this front office. 3 years, man. Honeymoon's over, bro. So, hey, can we take a couple of minutes just to talk to the chat for a few minutes?
Yeah, feel free. You got it for a little bit.
Yeah, just want to shout out Delano Steele, the real DSJ, one of the great mods and everything. Hi, hope all is well with you and your family. Had a nice, happy New Year. He said, I forgive you for liking MMA. Will he return to the debate league? Nah, I don't know. I'll let him answer that stuff. I didn't know that. That's even. From Delano. I didn't even know that's back in existence, man. That's like that's like XFL to me. So Justin L, my man, my brother, my friend, my good friend. Hope all is well. Hope grandma's still feeling
I'm
well.
trying to find it.
It's toward, I think, look toward the end of toward the end, the last few, up from the last few, actually. Again, Kaiser Soze, D. Grant, Wilson Dang, as always, Gregory Lee, as always, thank you for all yours. Michael West, Knicks for life. I'm out. Foxy's depressed. Michael West, president of the Foxy fan club every week. Appreciate all your feedback. Kevin Middleton, hope all is well. Devon Hudson, Tom Ford, again, my favorite designer. Sincere to Genius, Hard Will. See, I'm depressed from this game, so I needed somebody to cheer me up, and Hardwell always puts a smile on my face, man. My friend Hardwell. Hope all is well. You had a good, happy new year with the family. And folks, check out my guy Hardwell. Some of the best for the love of the game. Some of the best takes you'll see out there. Paris Duggar. Oh, Paris Duggar. I'm sorry, Duggar. I'll get it right in this brain one of these years. Hope all is well again. Old friend, great. Wayne Peterson, repping out school. You would trade Doc to after a loss. Okay. See, we talked about Stanley Mann already. Braham 718. Yo, haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. Just wanted to do a quick shout and catch people. And just one other thing. Always Geraldine MacGyver, my girl, one of the first lady of the SV Nation. Just wanted to ask, hey, if you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. As we say, hopefully our comments will be enlightening. Sometimes, like tonight, maybe a little controversial, but hopefully it's always entertaining. So, it's the one-stop place that we say for Knicks news, rumors and
analysis.
And analysis. So please,
got that into a jingle.
Yo, don't get me going on that. All you have to do is say that to me. So, Ace of Spade, what's happening? So I would say that, please make sure that you hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content from Keese and the Sports Vibe TV family. And always shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do. Hi, it's me. Hope all is well. Ray Rivera. And sorry for my intensity, folks, but I'm tired of this shit, man. I learned from a young age, if you get beat, I have no problems getting beat as long as you put your best game out there. But when you beat yourself, I got a problem with that. If you beat yourself with lack of, turnovers, lack of hustle, pointing each other out, I don't go down for that shit at all.
Yeah, going to give a shout out to Derek for the $2 super chat, saying you guys said Randle was the problem. Is he? Yeah, when he's on the court. But in games when he doesn't play, you see that the Knicks do have other issues in other areas. But if you want to say what the main problem has been throughout the season, I think 1A. Well, no, 1A is probably Thibs, and then 1B is Julius Randle. You can probably flip the two.
Yeah, but I can't go through a broadcast without going, Derek.
Derek.
Yeah, so Derek, in case I haven't told you lately, I love you.
You can see it be a little time to catch up with the comments. This was like 9 minutes. This was at 9:01.
I know. So forgive us, man. We got into it, folks.
Yeah.
So
Kaiser Soze with the $10 super chat. He's saying, what culture when our lead player has the worst plus minus on the whole team for the season thus far and a poor defensive rating? Bench been balling out. The vets all season thus far. Foxy salute. Yeah,
I love my man Kaiser Soze, good friend for over a year already, man. Yeah, and every time he says stuff, I'm always like smiling and saying, man, he knows his hoops. That's deep. You can't, he's right on target as always, man.
Yeah. All right. So Foxy, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for the Sports Vibes TV Lounge. And I think this is a little controversial take. So I want to hear what SV Nation has to say. Is Thibs and Leon Rose the right people in in those positions to help lead this team to a championship season?
And also the next couple. Yo, there it is, folks. The Sports Vibe TV Lounge. How pretty.
I
How
was too
pretty.
busy talking. I forgot to put it on the screen. I'll get it. I'll figure it out one of these days, man.
You're the coolest, man. You're the
Growing pains.
coolest. Nah, you're the coolest. But yep, folks, this is the time you take the show over, as Keith always says, and I love it. One of the big differentiators for our show is that our third co-host is the SV Nation. So this is the part of the show you take over, your questions, your thoughts, whether you like what we said, what you dislike, that's cool too. The beauty is, as you see, Keith and I don't have to agree, but we love each other. We're cool. We're not, that's the beauty of it. So let us know your thoughts, the questions, and everything you want us to talk about tonight for this segment. But D Grant says the main issue with the Knicks is chemistry. And yeah, I'm with starters. Yeah, I'm with you, D Grant, man. Thank you.
Pretty good chemistry. It's the starters.
Yeah, and you know what else that we didn't bring up that we're noticing? We miss D Rose bad.
Mm-hmm.
Bad. Yeah. So, and again, it says a lot for this team. If you're missing a 33-year-old point guard, that says a lot, because the guy, he's going to come back and he's going to get injured again, or he's going to have bad ankles again, folks. Think about, a dance. If you watch a guy playing point guard, or it's like a wide receiver, 1, 2, 3, and boom, they plant that foot and cut. Same thing as a crossover. That is violent on that ankle and on the feet and on that it's a violent act cutting in the NBA. So to be relying on a 33-year-old guy, and we just see it's not the same team without a D Rose. So I hope he gets back. But not Justin back soon enough.
Justin L., one of the mods for the channel, has a pretty interesting comment. He's saying, I think it's important to start is that we have had 11 coaches and 7 GMs in 20 years and our 300 plus games under 500 in that time. Building continuity, chemistry, culture are all important.
Yep. And you know what? My thing with Dolan is it's weird. You can't ask much more than the guy. The only problem is he's just picked the wrong guys every time, but he's given them money. He gives them a blank checkbook, but one of these days we're just due for luck. Get the right guy in here, or gal, I don't care, but somebody that's going to assess the talent, build a team for the next 5 or 10 years. And, yeah, but Justin, as always, man, that's deep. It's a cursed franchise.
We got a question from Ace Spade asking question about McBride. Do you see him being able to drive, flash, penetrate, and break down a defense on offense? Right now, I still think he's going to require a pick in order to get into the paint and make something happen. But you would hope he's able to develop that portion of the game. But right now, I don't see it. And you would hope he gets a little bit more time to play out there on the court. He can develop his game, some more time out on, in the off season, working on his handle. And
that's the big one right there. Right say that one more time, as that Uncle Ron would say. Handles. That's going to be the big differentiator.
Yep.
But we did see something.
They got to tighten up their handle.
Yeah, starting with RJ.
RJ
has terrible handles, man. If that kid wants to go to the next level, and because of his lack of speed, lack of his hops, everything, if he wants separation, he's going to have to come down to handles. But we did see something positive, though, tonight as it relates to McBride, and his name is Fred VanVleet. He went and drafted, folks. So, and he's a small guy. So he came out, and so if something like that, one thing we know, he's going to be a very good defensive player. But like you said, him being able to drive, break down, he's not going to get faster. It's all going to be determined by if he can get handles to create that separation, to, get to that spot or break down the defense. And, and there, like I said, there's a reason he was picked 36th. I think of him as a really, really good second team player, and hopefully that he could become like a VanVleet, a first team player. But you nailed it. That inability to create that separation and get to the hole is the difference of you being a point guard or not, or an effective point guard.
Delano Steele, the real DSJ, says Leon Rose was someone I questioned from the initial hiring, but I didn't want to be so critical. Tom Thibodeau was questionable as a coach with a young core in need of development. Facts. It wasn't the right
DSJ,
fit, I
man.
don't believe. Not with the roster we have. And if we were going to make a move for Tom Thibodeau as coach, we should have went all in. We should have moved a lot of our young players, moved a lot of our draft picks, and went about it that way. Because right now, I think we're wasting a lot of valuable time for our young guys, and they're not being put in positions to succeed long term. And we're just going to have to pay for it when we eventually move on from Tom Thibodeau and try to bring in a new coach.
Yeah, Delano nailed it again. He nailed every day he nails, so it's not surprising, man.
Kaiser saying we don't need to win, just show that we are going in the right direction. I want to see young players playing hard and competing. I want to see these losses by 4 to 6 points, not 15 to 12. That's a fact. That's what I came into last season saying,
Beautiful.
That's what I came into this game. I said, I'm not expecting us to win, but we got to be competitive. We got to show heart out there, show some passion. And, in the second half of this game, we really didn't see it. In the second quarter is where I think things really got away. You saw the turnovers, the sloppy play, and things like that. Let's see. What else anything else you see in the chat?
Let's see, my brother Justin. I said since summer that using Deuce off ball with IQ in summer and in G League was when he looked best. Then cross match him on defense on the primary ball handler. Yeah, that's deep, Justin. And you know what? That's what he did in college. He played more off ball in college, so that's why there's such a learning curve with him. But yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And if you think about the teams a couple of years ago in Toronto with Lowry and Van Vliet, and, now Norman Powell's leading the league in steals in Portland. But yeah, those guys, a lot of them played off ball. They necessarily didn't play the points. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
Justin L. Giving it, like we say, FB Nation's the third host. So he's giving us a little assist right here. He's saying one good difference is that we have had Obi, IQ, Deuce, Grimes, Rokas, Samanik, and Jericho, all under 23. When is the last time we have had young talent develop? Won't keep them all good. He's bringing up Rokas, someone that's going to factor, I think, into the point guard discussion next season. See, have you learned a lot of what you've seen for Rokas over there?
My biggest issue
playing for Barcelona.
Yeah, my biggest issue with all of this is that for Rokas, I really see Rokas as being a top-notch second-team player. I think he's going to have issues with the athleticism on defense that they'll blow past him. He's not strong enough. Hopefully, he has beautiful size. And he's a floor general. He's smart as hell. So I look at him being a very good quality player on second team. I just don't know the trajectory, whether he could ever be a first team NBA player, but I think he'll be an NBA player. But that's the problem. If you think, IQ and Deuce and Grimes, Rokas, Shamanic, it's too small of a sample size. Same thing with Jericho, I think they're all going to be good second team players. And that's my whole issue and why I said blow up this one. I looked at this roster, folks, and us seeing us barely needing a heroic effort from Burks to be a G League Detroit team, and then getting our ass kicked to the OKC, and you're just saying, oh my God, man, OKC is a terrible team when they have all their players on and we can't beat them. So we just don't have any elite first team players. Julius is a very good. You don't make all NBA second team without being a very good player, but he has other elements to his game that hurts others. And RJ is in his third year, and all he shows is that he's consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, you hope that RJ can develop into a top tier talent, but remains to be seen.
How many more years? 3 years, man. This is the year that I was expecting that, like I said, 16 to 18, 5 to 7 boards, 5 to 7 assists, and when, he beasted the other day. He beasted against a G League team without a rim protector. Anytime there's a rim protector and RJ gets to the hole, he has problems. You know what I noticed the other night?
Leon took a big ish with our cap space last summer.
You know what I noticed the other night? When I
Mhm.
drink, I always want to be as clear as I can from a clarity standpoint. But the other night was New Year's Eve, and I was drinking, and I noticed that when I was drinking, I wasn't coughing. So when I'm drinking like hot tea and stuff like that, I'm trying not to cough and stuff. So I think I got to get drunk more when I do this show. It helps my throat, and it don't hurt my head. It's not bad for my head either. So drinking
I hear
makes you
you now.
better. So what my
Hey,
my
when you're
my my,
talking
my
about
friend,
the Knicks and drinking,
yeah. So what
goes
my
hand
friend
in
Bricks
hand.
Nation say? I miss that.
That they played like ish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Leon took a big ish with our cap space last summer.
Yeah, oh, exactly. We were saying, "Oh wow, look," and what did he? But what did we get? Journeyman for it. You use cap space on journeyman, and especially like I said, to hold off another year. You have Zach LaVine this year. I think Zach's like, yo, they got DeRozan, they got. I want to be the number one guy. I'll come over to New York and
Hey,
everything.
I sent that text. Did you see after DeRozan made the first 3-pointer? Levine didn't look too thrilled about it. Pulled his
Yeah,
shirt out and just stood there while everybody's huddled up. In the one on New Year's Day, he didn't enjoy it or get involved in the fracas. But other than that, I didn't really like his energy after the
yeah,
first.
but I'm sure the two last games in his head saying, "Yo, this dude just won 2 games in a row with last second shots." That's what I'm supposed to be doing, man. He's got my
Mhm.
shine.
Yeah, so you never know. He may not be happy turning into the second
But
fiddle
it's a moot
or
point now.
turning
We
into
don't
the
have the
most.
money to do anything.
Hey, anything is possible when you got as much draft capital as we do. You get a second. You get a second. Treat it like Oprah. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Leon had to run it back with 1-year deals. That's what he should have done. He
Should
ran it
have
back
done
and
that.
gave everybody
Exactly.
the bag. I mean, it's like he gave everybody a thank you for the work that they put in last year. But you should be paying people for what they're going to do in future years, not what they did in the past.
Yeah, and you look 1-year deals, JaVale McGee, 1-year deal, Dwight Howard.
Mhm.
What are they doing from a production standpoint that's any less than what we paid Noel?
Noel's not even
No.
available. Those guys
He's
are on
not
the
only
court.
available, but he's getting paid. He's getting paid like $5 million more than those guys.
He's
So
getting paid more than them combined. JaVale
thank
McGee,
you.
Dwight Howard, and Andre Drummond. You add all their salaries together, and it
That,
does not
ex-
eclipse
Ding,
Noel's
ding,
contract.
ding. Grand prize winner right here, ladies and gentlemen. Keys.
Mm.
You're right. So but then it
Crazy.
goes right back to our front office. Oh, wow, we have a real savvy guy in that Leon Rose, and we have all these, Brock Aller and all these guys. What the hell are they doing? And now we have analytics. Shit, man. I'd rather the SV Nation. I think the SV Nation collectively would have done a better job than any of these clowns.
Maybe I got to drop more realistic rebuilds for my guy Charlie. See if they'll follow my lead.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Will Salk and hey, Will. Hope all is well with you and your family.
Salute to our guy George.
Yo, George, my guy. Hey, folks, you haven't checked out our brother George into the Knicks verse? Please do me a favor, subscribe. Great show, great guy. You'll make a great decision.
Kevin taking shots, saying McBride is Ron Baker, Sheldon Mack, Charlie Ward at best.
Ron Baker,
Hey,
Sheldon Mack, and
Charlie Ward cousin hear you
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, that's right. But Ron Baker never played a day of defense like that. So nah, man. So
It's
I don't
me
look
is
at
saying trade deadline should be interesting. I think Leon has to fix this. It's going to be interesting because we don't know if teams are going to be willing to let players go.
Yeah, the Rona's killing everything, man.
Yeah, everybody's bringing in replacement players. How can you go and trade a guy that's available for you, and you never know who's going to be on your roster day to day? Who's going to get the bug? Who's not? So it's a weird position to be in. It'll be interesting to see who's actually made available and who gets moved.
Yeah. Justin Ellie said my favorite under the radar move was Diallo. He signed for 2 years with just above 10 million total on the contract. 5 million for 2 years on Diallo wouldn't have been bad. Did you see the last 3 games, Justin? He's lighting it up. I think he's averaged 28 points over the last 3 games. And yep, I know about G League, but Yo, he's another tough Kentucky boy, and he's a New York boy, a Queens boy. So I'd love him. Yeah, I think that would have been smart move. And another one, who's a unrestricted free agent this year? Bobby Portis. I think he signed last year like a 2-year, 9-year, 2-year, $9 million. Yo, what the hell is Bobby Portis? The guys that we had that Bobby Portis couldn't do. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. So again, it gets back to the damn talent assessment on this team. Margaret Edwards, if you're new, anyone's new, do me a favor, just do a hashtag new so our mods could let us know, but we want to give you a proper welcome. McBride was thrown into starting rotation without practice or any scrimmage. Give the kid a break. I'm with you, man. I'm with you, especially the other day with Kemba's knee. But so what does Thibs do today? He punishes him for not doing a damn thing. So, Margaret, thanks for the great question. Hope you had a nice New Year with your family. Kevin Wynn, trade Jules for Fox. Yo, I have to work on my jump. Oh, maybe he's talking De'Aaron Fox. I thought he was talking about me.
That's what I think. No,
I got to work on my step back jumper to be truthful. But yeah.
We almost had a crisis, Foxy. My mouse died.
What died?
My mouse.
Oh, my hearing in my old age. So, so yeah, technology drives you crazy, man.
Yeah. Luckily, I was able to steal some batteries from my keyboard. I don't think I'll need that for now, right now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hey, Justin, DLO is Kentucky, New York's finest. Nuh-uh. Kentucky's finest is you. Justin L is Kentucky's finest. It ain't bourbon, it's my man. Hey, Gregory, he means Bobby Portis, Mr. Break Your Jaw. Yeah, he lit that dude up.
Yeah, I think he's actually now Rokas's teammate.
I was about to say that. Thank you. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Put a little connected dots here. Will Salk is saying salute Keith and salute Foxy. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
I just hope we can unload Fournier. Any free agents and players you guys like? Yeah, I really hope we can get rid of Fournier's contract. I think he's going to be the most difficult. He's got the 3 years plus the option, which you probably don't have to count. But with what he's being paid and the production he's giving us, I don't know if teams would be willing to jump in bed with Evan Fournier. I mean, we didn't hear too many teams, offering him contracts in free agency. It was just the Knicks from all I heard.
Yeah. Dana, if you knew, let us know. But you know what? Keith and I were talking this, with Fournier and stuff. There was a little skirmish in Houston yesterday with both Christian Wood and with Kevin Porter Jr. I'm not necessarily in the Kevin Porter Jr. side, but Houston, maybe you want to trade Fournier. We'll trade Fournier for Christian Wood. I'd bring him here and give Grimes Fournier's minutes. So I'd definitely go getting credit. A couple years ago, and all of you know me, I said I wanted Halliburton. I went on record and said that, and I also said I wanted Christian Wood. So and that would have.
I think I did a realistic rebuild with the two. I had drafted Tyrese Halliburton and I had signed Christian Wood.
Yeah.
See, we're always thinking along the same lines.
I know, but it's funny because I was going over the numbers, Tom Ford, about Eric Gordon, because actually you're 100% right, Tom, that you need Eric Gordon and Christian Woods to get around the same money that Julius is going to be making on this contract. And I'm like saying, oh, man, I don't really want a guy like Eric Gordon at his age and everything, especially, again, it would deter the development of guys like Grimes if you're paying a guy that much for the next few years.
What else we got going on? Justin L, thank you for letting everybody know. Hit that like button if you want to see Stephen Fox in the orange and blue with the step back fadeaway.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about.
RJ hit a pretty nice step back from 3 today.
How many? Yeah, I just want to see 4 of them like that or 5 of them like that.
I look at this. The Bricks Nation said, I bet Knicks will trade for Elf soon. No way. There'll be riots at MSG. Whether fans are allowed in or not. They can't do that.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Maurice. Got to get them rechargeables, man. Yeah. Well, I got some batteries downstairs. I just don't want to go run and get them. Let's see what else we got going on here. Mr. Break Your Jaw. Just wouldn't stop you from a drive to the basket.
Yep.
See, take up Gordon and Christian Woods. I don't know if I want Gordon's contract.
That's what I was saying, man.
The only way I take Gordon's contract is with Christian Wood. I think I had mentioned that when the news first came up about Gordon, but I don't know.
You know what? How I do it? I do it. I trade Randle and get Gordon and Woods, but there's a big thing there. Give me a number 1 draft pick unprotected. You give me a number 1, and I'll go for it.
Rebuild mode, man.
Yeah,
their roster is barren. They got a bunch of young guys, so they really want their first round picks. They're gonna be high first round picks for that team. So if they're willing to do it, I do it. I do it.
Yep.
I would drive Julius Randle there myself. I heard Houston is a very nice city. I spend a couple days and drive right back. Let's see. You know, Foxy is a street ball legend. You're a street ball legend, Foxy?
Only in my own mind.
Find out. You gotta have an SVTV pickup game. Have you pull up and George, see if we can get JD.
I will say that I was an excellent shooter, but those days are way behind me, man. But I could light it up from shooting. But when I went against really talented athletic guys, they shut my ass down. Just a white boy who can't jump.
That was life. Mr. DJ said give up a first round pick and get Cam Reddish. Hey, I'm all for getting Cam Reddish. So add some athleticism. He can create off the dribble for himself at times. He can also knock down a three, and he has all the tools to be a great wing defender. So
but at this point in time, I'd give up a couple seconds for Cam, but if I'm giving up a first round pick, it's to move. If this year goes like I think it's going to go, and we're picking number 10 or 12, I want that first round pick to get us into number 5. Or
you don't trade. I always trade Charlotte's. Where's Charlotte in the rankings? Because we have Charlotte's, right? We have to. I forgot what the stipulation is.
I think 18. I forgot the stip. Help us out here. My brain's a little fried. Tonight.
Yeah, the Hornets right now are 7th in the East. So if they get into the playoffs, I'd give up Charlotte's pick if I had to get Cam Reddish. I mean, would we be able to package our first and Charlotte's first and move up to get a player that would be better than Cam?
Absolutely.
Really? Do you think the teams in that? You think the teams in?
I just meaning from an assessment.
Willing?
I don't know, but I'd like to give it I'd go for it though. I'd give it a try. And meaning even if it cost RJ. That
I gotta look at some of the past trades to see exactly what other teams have given up in order to move into the top 5. I did a video to see what it would have cost us to move into the top 10, and we didn't have the assets in order to make that move. So to say we get 10, and then to say we get something in the 20s, I wouldn't know if we'd have enough to jump up into the top 5, especially if it's not in a deep draft. I don't think a lot of people say we have a deep draft coming up.
Yeah, but also what I was saying. Cam, I don't think Cam will ever be an elite player. I think Cam will have a good NBA career, more athletic than RJ, but I don't see him as elite. And he hasn't lit it up by now. He's been in the league just as long as RJ. That I'd rather go for throw the dice and go for somebody up there. Like I said, there's like 4 or 5 guys this year, and like Kaiser Soze said before, last year was the draft, folks. Last year was the draft that we could have really did something. Kevin Middleton, Fox don't play defense. That's not true. That was one of the things I did play. I was a crazy dude. My nose ain't crooked for nothing, man. I would dive in for loose balls. I was absolutely that type of guy, that Villanova tough type of dude. Justin L., I really like Jabari. Oh, sorry. No, please. No, my guy Hart. Justin just said he really likes Jabari Smith, but I don't think there's a chance, sadly. You're right, man. Nobody's going to give up a chance, especially I could see him going to Detroit and now having a Cade Jabari Smith. yo, that's a nucleus of a serious team for years to come.
Yeah, Hardwell saying, so if we're not developing guys' games and confidence, it's a waste. If we're not going to win, when we not building the future's confidence. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yep, Hardwell's
Anything you
right
want to
on.
add to that?
Nah, that's Hardwell's game, man. He developed as young kids, so he has great insight. Not only was a top-notch ball player playing, a high-level college ball, but now he's, training kids to become high-level ball players. So he understands better than anyone. That's why I love listening to Hardwell. I can listen to it for hours. That he understands what confidence means. It's like boxers and other things. The mental game. People don't put enough emphasis what it means, the mental game of what their career is. And if you heard, and we have the poster child of what lack of confidence does to a player. His name's Kevin Knox. Of what happens when you hurt a kid's confidence early in his career. Some of them never come back from it. And I don't think Kevin ever came back from his second year of saying, hey, I started all these games last year and now you're only starting me 4 games. What the hell did I do wrong? So, Hardwell, again, man, you nailed it.
Thanks. All right, so Foxy, we'll wrap it up there. I think it was a solid show.
Especially as solid as it could be, folks. Sorry, man. It just gets to a point where you watch games like this, like I said, whether Detroit, OKC, or tonight, where you're like, yo, if you get beat by a team that's lighting it up, but you're leaving everything on the court, those things happen. But when you shoot like shit, and 25% the other night, and against the level of competition where you're like, they're missing so many great players, and we still lose, that it drains you, man. So it drains you as a fan, and drains you putting on a podcast like you're saying, hey, man, I don't want to come off as a negative dude. I love the SV Nation. I don't want to come off that way, but we got to keep it real, man.
Yeah,
Hi, Margaret.
Saying the kids are playing, so they are learning these games without Randle schooling for the kids. I mean, that's what we hope. That's what we want. But you saw Thibs. I mean, not Thibs. You saw Deuce not really getting as much minutes as we would have liked. Even Grimes, you mentioned the Foxy could have played more minutes. But there's still more that can be done when it comes to getting these young guys more minutes out there on the court so they can develop. We've been saying it here on the channel. This season should be about defense and development. So Thibs, it's on you now, man. Get those young guys prepared to play and give them the minutes so we can at least see what we have on this roster, and then we can make some moves, whether it be at the trade deadline or next season.
Word. Yep. So, Margaret, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully we'll see you every Sunday at 8. Where is the place to be? Sports Vibe TV. One last thing, folks. Hey, do me a favor. If you haven't hit that like button tonight. We have 115 people in the chat, and we only have 54 likes. So we greatly appreciate it. If you haven't, do us a how do you say it? Do us a solid.
Do us a solid.
Yeah, hit that like button. Do me a favor. If you haven't hit that subscribe, folks. We got to thank you so much. Just in the last several weeks, we added almost 190 subscribers just in the last few weeks since Christmas. So, but we're at 5.18 now, and 6,000 is in our target, in our sight. So please help us get there. Like we said, every week, we put in the work behind the scenes to give you as good of a show as possible. Please turn on that all reminder bell so you don't miss any of the great content coming out of Sports Vibe TV. And again, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do.
Yep. So thank you, Foxy, for co-hosting with me. Also, thank you, SV Nation, for you guys co-hosting as well. Once again, you guys are a staple of the show, holding it down for us, providing us with great topics to discuss, and give a shout out as well to our mods, Justin L. You've been holding it down. Delano been holding it down in the chat as well. We appreciate all your support, and we appreciate you guys showing up every Sunday to chop it up with us and to talk Knicks, even when they don't win. So, it's part of covering a team. You can't win everyone. You just hope you don't lose them like we did tonight.
Hey, we got Robert James. He just let us know he's a new subscriber, a new listener. Appreciates the commentary. Robert, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, and also understanding that we love our Knicks. So we're not trying to come off negative, but we want a chip, man. We don't want to just win. We want a chip. So chip without, so Knicks for life. All of you, man, we appreciate all. Gregory Lee, Again, Tom Ford, thank you for your kind words. Great show. Thank you. As like I said earlier, and Keith so eloquently said, you're the co-host, the third co-host of this show, and that's why we live for that last segment of the show, the Sports Vibe TV Lounge, where you take the show over, we answer your questions, and we just love the flow. And like we said, we learned so much from you, whether Kaiser Soze and all you guys, Delano, you're always bringing up, and my brother Justinell, etc. You're always bringing up fantastic points that really are thought provoking, and have, yeah, I really didn't think about that, but that's nice. I like that. So,
Facts, man. Always provide thought-provoking comments and topics for us to discuss, and that's why SB Nation, one of the best groups out there when it comes to following the Knicks, following us as a channel and things like that. So I appreciate all the support from you guys. Until next time, we'll be back again when Foxy, you know, let me know.
8 p.m. Where's the place to be? Sports Vibe TV every Sunday at 8 p.m. And next Sunday we'll be here, and hopefully we have a big week, folks. You know, we play the Pacers, and we have back-to-back games Thursday and Saturday against Boston, which are huge games. So if there is any hope for the season, next week is going to be a real barometer. So hopefully we get Julius back. And again, folks, don't ever confuse the comments we make about Julius. We want Julius healthy. He's a father. He's a son. He's a husband. We want him healthy. We want Julius good. Anyone that's in the COVID protocol, and like I said, unfortunately, I had a really bad week. I got the booster, and I was sick as a dog for several days. I'm still fatigued. I'm trying to get back to myself. But anybody that has this COVID, say some prayers for them. So Julius, we're thinking about you. And when you come back, if you can come back last year, Julius will love you even more.
Facts. That's exactly what we need. So thank you guys once again. I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV. That's my guy, Foxy. You can also check him out at Fox Sports Talk on Twitter, and you can also check out the channel at Sports Vibes TV on Twitter as well. So thank you guys for tuning in.